All right. Hey, good afternoon. For those of you in the Midwest, I'm hoping you're enjoying your lunch. Our East Coast people, you're at about 1 o'clock here this time in the afternoon. And today, I want to do a little gathering called, basically bulletproofing our practices. I mean, who would have thought 6 or 8 weeks ago that we'd be running into that, all of a sudden people are asked to shelter at home. Are you as a chiropractor essential, not essential? I mean, all of these things we just didn't expect. As a matter of fact, the trend was, as we were going into the new year, they're going to go, oh my God, 2020 it's going to be an amazing year. And I still believe that. And so I just look at what has happened as a little bit of like pruning back. And that sometimes, our branches got pruned a little bit, but it may mean that it's going to give us an opportunity to go into another direction, maybe an opportunity to look at, is it time to later on hire new staff, or is it a time for our practice, to get back and get reorganized and be focused on mission. The good news is, if you're a family wellness chiropractor, the good news is that you've had a very minimal dip in your practice. Many of you know me for over 17 years. I've been mentoring in my program Generations. And so talking to my colleagues in Generations, their dip is between 20 to 25%. Some have maybe 30%, but the majority is between 20 and 25%. And I'd like to share with you some of those ideas of what could you do to get out there and to be out into the practices, and what kind of difference can you do. Now, realizing as we're on to this meeting here today, and many of you know my background, co-editor of a pediatric chiropractic. You may have taken my classes when I taught with ICPA for over 25, 26 years. You may have gone to a first adjustment. So I'm pretty entrenched. 30 plus years in practice, and I'm not going anywhere. And my dad at 92 is still taking CE hours with me and covers me when I'm out teaching. But I want to know that also, depending on your province or your state, you may be able to take some of this information, apply it, and at other times it may not. But let's just talk to us in general. What can we do in practice? So the first thing is, if you're a part of my educational club and you get my monthly newsletters, the same thing, my Generations member, know that last month or the beginning of April, you received 2 Wellness Family newsletters. We were writing this newsletter on spring and so forth. This is a newsletter that we were writing about spring activities for kids. That was being written in January. And right when all this virus stuff hit, I realized what we were suggesting here, although it's really great, and by the way, you're going to use this in 2021, but we're not going to have a virus issue here. But we turned around, and within a day, we rewrote copy, and we did a COVID-19 sheltering in, and then we eliminated some of those activities. So if you did receive the newsletter and you had 2 of them, you go, which one do I do? Remember, one is for shelter in, and the second newsletter for something that we would use for 2021. So that's important. We always want to be posting stuff. The second thing that we made available to the whole entire profession is that we emailed everybody an opportunity to go to our website. That's drclaudiaonrick.com. Go to free stuff. And what you had an opportunity a month ago, and you may not even realize it, that we had 2 newsletters. One, Dr. Blank's top 5 tips. We also did, I like this one. This is the one on my practice. You have an option for both of them. My top 5 tips and how to stay strong. And notice we didn't use the word immunity because, interesting enough, we always have to be a little bit careful. Again, state interpretation, province interpretation. And so we were just talking about the things that we would say in the adjusting room, like eat clean, keep your sleep habits the same. Make sure you're staying fit, get the body in motion, have positive thinking, and so forth. And then the 5th tip, number 1, that we suggested is remember that, parents report back when their kids are under regular adjusting, how much better everybody feels. So please, if you have not downloaded that newsletter, personalize it, print it off, post it around your office, or make it a handout for individuals. So one of the things that we have had a really strong recommendation, being from the West Coast, we are about 2 weeks ahead of you guys from the Midwest and on the East Coast. And now again, if you're in the epicenter, you're in New York, New Jersey area, you guys were hit a little bit differently. So it's those of you in Chicago downtown, it's starting, your numbers are starting to get better. So you're going to start seeing maybe patients coming in to see you. But the number one thing that we started over 2.5 weeks ago in our practice was, number 1, eliminate confusion. And by eliminating confusion, the number one thing we did is I asked my staff, Naomi, Denise, would you please take the opportunity, call our patients, because again, we've only dipped 20-25%, but I knew within amongst my practice, maybe some of my newer patients have been with me maybe 6 months, a year, and they really don't quite understand the wellness component of our family practice. I knew that, and maybe they're the ones who canceled, said, I'll call you guys in a few weeks from now, or I'll give, I'm on will call. And they just don't know, number one, even if you're open. And so we started 2 weeks ago. It was a very passive recall, and we're suggesting to do that to every one of your patients. The number one thing was, hi, Amy, this is Naomi from Dr. Claudia's office, and we just wanted to let you know our practice is considered essential. And should you need to get in, not, we miss you, get in, you need your chiropractic care. And we don't, of course, say anything like, it's going to boost your immune system and fight off the virus. No, we're just wanting to let you know that our practice is considered essential. And if you do need to get in, don't hesitate to call us. What I found, because when I was and while these calls were being done in my practice, I was sitting across the hallway doing some documentation, and I would hear just some of the responses from the patients. And you could hear my staff responding to them. Gosh, I didn't even realize you guys could be open because our dentistry is down or closed and all the rest. And they didn't even think, and even great patients didn't even think about the possibility. So please start calling your patients, letting them know you're essential if your state is allowing you to do that your practice is open if they need you. And so again, that's the key thing. And then also too, if it's allowed, we are also, if you're accepting any new patients, if you know somebody that needs relief care, please don't hesitate to refer them over to this office. It's a very simple tool to do. We have had, I saw in my practice alone, and we have a very high volume practice, my brother, Dr. Daniel, and I, and I could see even update forms, people who hadn't been in months, but just a reach out made a difference. We were seeing reactivated anywhere from 5 to 8 more adjustments in a given day, just because they knew we were there and available to them. And the number one thing our patients are coming back to, they were so appreciative. Oh, I'm so glad that you're in practice here. We are so grateful. Boy, we value the adjustment we get. The second thing that I'm going to recommend for you to do is consider, there are going to be some of your wonderful VIP patients. These are moms with their 2 or 3 kids. And right now, it's interesting. They're staying home. And why they're staying home, and this is why I stay in practice, is because these great moms with their great kids, their dads are saying, you know what, I'm putting the foot down when it comes to this. You are not leaving with the kids. They're right around town. You're not going over to your chiropractor's office, even though I know, our kids always function better when they get an adjustment, but we're just staying home right now. And you can't argue with that, because that's how he feels. And so what I did, and I had a handful of those patients. So what I did, I told my staff, just, let's pull up their charts. And what I did was I did kind of a VIP for my wellness women. I just gave them a call and say, Amy, I know you're right at home right now with the kids, and it's just a few more weeks. But can I tell you what I have been sharing with my families who are coming in for an adjustment? Let me share with you some of the top tips that we're recommending. And then what I did, which is I took what I was saying in my adjusting room, and now again, you can get this flyer under free stuff. Take the 4 top tips. Sleeping, stay in your sleep habits, eat clean, don't go into sugar and carbohydrates, keep yourself moving, and be in a positive attitude. Don't be around negative people. And so that right there, my patients really appreciated it. I thought, Dr. Claudia, that's so thoughtful of you. And so they really enjoy the outreach. The third thing, something we just started doing last week, was I realized that I had some professionals, maybe as it was a single person or it was a couple maybe. And now this individual here is working from home. And once again, they're not somebody, I've known them for very long. And so like my patients who've been with me 2 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years, they're all coming in on a regular basis because they know the value of the adjustment and how it contributes to their kind of quality of life. And so with those professionals staying from home, I knew that maybe they were a little timid. They weren't quite sure, should they come in, should they not? So I thought, well, after a couple of weeks of being home and my patients are sitting kitchen tables and chairs and they're just feeling rotten with it, more stress on neck and shoulder, they're not taking enough breaks, I started calling a few of my professionals and to say, Erica, this is Dr. Claudia, and I know right now you're staying at home, working from home, and really limiting yourself going out. But can I share with you just a couple ideas that we're recommending for those of you who are at home right now? Because I'm seeing it when my patients are working from home as well. Some of the things that are happening to you guys. And so number one, you're sitting crunched over at a kitchen table that's not the right height. It's ergonomically not correct. So for every 20 minutes of you're sitting there, could you just get up and walk your hallway or around the block for 5 minutes? But walking, moving will help decrease the stress on that neck and shoulder area in your lower back. Number two, you have a kitchen countertop. Those are usually taller. What if you could do a makeshift sit-stand desk? Could you put a box on there, a crate, put your laptop on there, and it's not perfect, but at least it's closer to sit-stand. And so what I did, just what I would have said in an adjusting room, I'm now just making a few of those what I call ergo calls, just to check in, stay connected with them. And the sweet thing is they said, I know, Dr. Claudia, that could come in to get an adjustment. I'm just going to wait a few more weeks. That's whatever you want to do, that's not a problem. We just want to let you know that we're here. And let me give you some of my recommendations. Now, the fourth thing that we did in our practice, and this was really super fun, is about 3 weeks ago, and again, remember from Midwest to the East Coast, we were a few weeks ahead of you. I realized, because our practice, I'm a second-generation chiropractor. Our practice has been open for over 50 years. So some of my dad's patients who came in to see him when they were in their 30s are now in their 80s and 90s as well. So I get they're going to stay home. But I thought, geez, they got to be being a little lonely. And with my elderly, I didn't have time to get on the phone with them and spend 20 minutes because they would take longer. So I went, one day I was at lunch at my mom and dad's house. I said, Dad, Mom, I'm going to go to Target after work tonight. I'm going to pick up some blank cards and I'm going to bring them back to the office. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to start handwriting notes, Dear April, we really miss you. I hope you're staying healthy and well. Love you. And then I would write my name, Dr. Claudia, and then my staff would write it and we would put that in the mail. My dad was so excited that we were doing something like that. And at 92, mind you, not afraid of the virus he got, he says, Claudia, he says, I'm going to go to the post office today. It seems like you're going to need some extra stamps. So my dad raced off after lunch, went to get the stamps for us, and we started handwriting the notes. What happened with that group of patients? Amazing. They're not coming in yet because they're elderly, but here, in this group here, they all called my staff and said, oh my gosh, Naomi, would you tell Dr. Claudia, we know how busy she is, but how much we just thought, we know your family, you took the time to write us a note, and so it just was going that extra mile. Well, we love them, so we just were expressing it in a handwritten note because they're not following Facebook. They're not going to open up email or text. So that handwritten note made a big difference. And starting last week, I also realized I have some of my patients who are timid. They have maybe, and you have them too, certain kinds of anxieties. There's something like this going on right now. It's collapsing in on them, and they don't do well. So they're not going to leave their home for weeks and weeks on end. So with that little group right there, I told myself I know exactly who they are, and then I started handwriting notes to them to say, we're thinking of you. If they were faith-based, we're praying for you. Just know anything we could do, don't hesitate to call. Love Dr. Claudia, and the staff signed it. And so that was our second wave of handwritten notes. The one thing that probably makes us really unique as a family wellness chiropractor is what makes us unique is that we have relationships built with patients. And that's why, really, truly, I just did a Zoom meeting with Ron Oberstein, the president of Life West, and we were just talking about a more subluxation-based practice. The more we educate patients, we've had less drops in general. Now, some practices are having 30 to 50%. I still think that's a little bit high. Pain relief practices, they're much higher. They're anywhere from 50 to 80% drop. That's a huge drop. I just think that we can restart things very simply. Another idea, fifth idea that we could do is I would recommend, and again, you can go to drclaudiaonrick.com. Once you get there, then go to, please go to free stuff. And what we are doing, and we've done this a couple weeks ago, is we sent our children, and I made sure we hand addressed it to the boys and girls, to the family, And we send them Sammy the Centipede coloring sheets, so you can get those downloaded there. And there's one that is colored and so forth. So that's an easy thing to do. And so you can put your chiropractic stickers in there. But for children, just to get mail to go home with, and this has gone over so well with my generations practices. You know, and they're always asking, Claudia, how do you always come up with new ideas? It's because I'm nimble. I'm always looking at things. What's an opportunity to educate? This is just a change. It's a pruning back, but this is not Eeyore's time. You see, the problem is if you take an Eeyore attitude with it, oh, the sky's falling, your tail's wagging, you know, and by the way, your Eeyore patients, this is the time that they love a crisis like this. They come in, they drag their tail, and I told my staff from the get-go 6 weeks ago, the Eeyore patients, God bless them, we love them, we're gonna give them the best adjustments, but for our Eeyore patients, do not feed them woe is us, and so forth. And the same thing, do not look at this, you know, an opportunity to get reorganized my practice. And what is it an opportunity to do? For those of you in my wellness club or past generations members, current generations members, you know, download those newsletters, look at which ones maybe you're not using and so forth. And if you're not a club member, holy smokes, something is easy, getting a monthly newsletter. We have Did You Knows that go out, and then we have a quarterly, what we call recipe. Let me just grab one here. It's called Recipe for Wellness, and that's like a spring edition. And in our spring edition, something like this, we have lifestyle stuff. Did you know, so like home remedies, recipes for kids, and so forth, getting the most out of chiropractic. And so that could be something, just a tool. Get back into the most important thing, get back and doing what we call just really simple educational stuff, easy to do. Also, with our packets, for those of we were recommending it for also our additionally for those of you who are my generation members on the phone. Remember, just a couple weeks ago we came out with spring cleaning, and it just, you would personalize it to your practice. This was activities to do at home, except you would personalize it. So remember to get that out to your kid practices. We just came out with a kids wellness report card. Oh, fun things to do, and we're so proud of you. And that even though maybe you're not coming in for your adjustments right now, we're going to do a drawing at the end of May or whatever it might be. And once you fill out your report card, just bring it back in when you are, and you'll be a part of the drawing. And then one of the things that we did is we did a scavenger hunt, and this is scavenger hunt for their home. And then for those of you in our program, remember you also have a scavenger hunt in your chiropractic practice. Now we should use that, doctors, in May or June when things lighten up a little bit in the practice. So create kit packets, send it out to them. Another thing to look at as an opportunity, and I just started with this idea last week, whether you could do this, the idea really came from my my teachers who are doing Zoom meetings with their kids. Why are they doing Zoom? So the kids can get on and say hi to each other. But this is not necessarily, this could be a Zoom for kids in chiropractic, but you could do this as doing a videotape finally. Maybe you have a little bit more time to do it. And what if you just did a videotape, then put it on your YouTube channel, and then what if you just read through Sammy the Centipede Goes to the Chiropractor? So you're reading the story to the children, and the benefits of chiropractic care. Oh, what did Sammy do? Sammy took a fall and went to the chiropractor's office. And so you could do a Sammy. The other one that you could do, doctors, is I love Dr. Joe from Chiroceps. So you could take the amazing nervous system and talk about, okay, kids, what is the first thing that was created in the body? The brain. The second thing is the spinal cord. And then you would take them through the nervous system, nerves going to muscles and organs and heart. And then what can interfere with it? And then maybe you or a staff member could put a finger in here. And then when the nerve impulse is supposed to go through, okay, what's interfering like that? Okay, it's stuck. We would call that subluxation, kids. Can you say that again? Subluxation. And what does a chiropractor do? We gently adjust and we eliminate the interference so the body can talk to the rest of the system. So you could do something like that. For those of you who have attended my first adjustment seminar, remember that cute skit Saturday afternoon? Do you know that very simply with little cards, a brain, arm, get a string or a rope, and then a ring to go through it, and then we have nerve impulses, and then remember that in your first adjustment notes, I had the skip. The skip was completely step-by-step delivered to you, so you know what that would look like, and it just maybe do the nervous system and just simple things, and then send something out once a week to the kids in the practice. The other things that you could do is if you have also other kind of wellness family newsletters, you just would take each issue, some past issues, and then maybe it's time to send it to some of the adults. It's something that you think, you know what what would be really nice right now? Good night's sleep. Posture matters. If your practice that, for example, does orthotics, one of our newsletters, feet, gait, and chiropractic, letting them know and get people starting to think. We know this is going to end. For some of you, it's going to be in the next 2 weeks. Maybe somebody else, it's going to be a month. It's not a forever thing. And one of the number one things that I would really encourage you to do is please call your patients, particularly if you're allowed to see patients. We are, of course, considered extremely essential here in California. Like in many states, we were not impeded by our access to our patients. And so that call, Lena, we are available. We're considered essential. If you need us, don't hesitate to call. That'll make a huge difference in your practices as number one. The other thing to think about is if it's time for you to thinking, I need CE hours, or I need to get back in the trenches with family wellness and all the rest. One of the other things that I would suggest doing is we are going to go online just for this seminar. It's going to be first adjustment, May 16th is a Saturday, and then Sunday morning the 17th. We're going to do an online CE seminars. Everything that, if anybody's ever seen me do first adjustment live, we have it exactly dialed in. We did this for the state of Illinois when they were quote unquote shut in, and the success, the doctors just went gaga over the seminars, because you're still going to get our 120 page notes are part of the seminar. We're pace driven. We have a lot of states that have been accepted. So again, we were going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, but we've decided to make this available for North America. We did additional videotaping for adjusting, so different camera angles. So if you've seen me setting you up in adjustments, and then we're doing setups with the dolls on that Sunday, and then also we're sending the 70-minute adjusting DVD, newborn examination, children's setups, and all the rest. And so if you're interested in getting CE hours, getting back into family wellness, and you just need a kickstart, go again to our website, go to First Adjustment, and just register now and so forth. We have a limit to how many we can allow for the class, but we just opened it up a few days ago. And so, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Call Anastasia. Write this down. It's 559-291-2912. 7800. 7800. And if you're also doing reflecting, gosh, do I need to get recharged, repurposed, whether you're a veteran chiropractor, you've been at it 20, 30 years, or you're somebody new, you've been only out 2, 3, 4, 5 years or so forth, or you're an associate about ready to spin off and go into your own private practice and so forth. And if you're not sure, hey, how could I grow my practice through education? Really simple. Again, go to our website, drclaudiahonored.com, and go to generations. And just there's a survey there. And fill out the survey, assess your own practice where you're at, and then just send that in to Anastasia, and I'll get on a phone call with you, 20 minutes, a half hour, and just chat about your practice and so forth. We know practices can be very successful. And even in a time like this, when we're being pruned back, I am very humble. I'm a family wellness chiropractor. I feel really good every night. I put my head on the pillow at night. I adjusted babies today. I've adjusted toddlers, pregnant women. I've adjusted everybody. And again, my state allowed me to do this, but that I'm essential, and that my practice didn't go away because it was told to go away, but my educated practice, and that's the number one thing. Nothing should be a hype. You see, if your practice has to rely on to survive, you need 40 or 60 new patients a month. That means you have no retention in your practice. That means you have holes in your bucket and everybody is seeping out. A very high educational practice has high retention, needs less new patients because the practice volume is exactly where it needs to be. And so the goal is turn back to education, get back to good talking points in the adjusting room. If we're talking about weather and other silly things in the adjusting room, you have lost an opportunity to help somebody get entrenched into the family message. So real quick, the 6 things, real fast. Call, remind people that you're in practice. Number 2, teleconsult. Any of your VIP families that are staying home right now, just check in on them, chat with them some ideas. And again, using that download this, be really simple. 3, do some ergo calls for your professionals who are staying at home but afraid to come in to be adjusted. 4, handwritten notes, amazing to your seniors, special population group, handwrite notes. Do children's packets with Sammy the Centipede. That would be really great. And what if the possibility of just doing it, just some videotaping, you reading Sammy the Centipede, the amazing nervous system, and you're putting that information out. And again, whatever we can do, don't hesitate to call. And if you have questions about what about these newsletters, did you know, and all the rest, just call Anastasia at 559-291-7800. For my Generations members who are on this call right now, you know her. She's been with us for over 19 years. She's not going anywhere. She's our educational coordinator, and she's working with staff, with the doctors, and all the rest to help out. So just do all of this, and then remember to first adjustment, if you need CE hours or you just need to get back into the family of wellness, that's May 16th and 17th. We will be doing it via Zoom. We've got it all dialed in, great set of notes, adjusting DVD as a part of it as well. And you just have to either call us or go to our website. And again, if there's anything we can do for you, just reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to help out. Take care, guys. Be blessed. Take care.